Welcome to Magic Beyond the Books. Today we're talking about Harry's first trip to Hogsmeade Village. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Renee. Warning, there are Harry Potter spoilers in this episode. This scene is from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is book 3. It's chapter 10, which is called The Marauder's Map. If you're reading the physical book, it's pages. We're not going to do the whole chapter. We're just going to do like the Hogsmeade part. So pages 196 to 210. Or if you're listening to the audiobook, it should be around 22 minutes into chapter 10 to the end of the chapter. Quick summary. Harry sneaks into Hogsmeade despite not having a signed permission form. He tries butterbeer for the first time and discovers some surprising secrets about the mass murderer Sirius Black. But before we get into the episode, let's do our Harry Potter 20 questions game. All right, so for this game, Lynn, you will have 20 questions, or you can try to do it in less, to try to guess the Harry Potter character. Okay?
Okay, I'm scared.
I have a particular Harry Potter character in mind that's a Harry Potter character from the books and the movies.
Okay,
So you have 20 questions to try to guess, yes or no questions to try to guess the person, and the listeners can kind of try to play along and see if they can figure it out.
okay, I'm not as brushed up as you are, but we'll do our best.
Okay. And at any point, you can try to just guess the person. That will just count as a question.
Okay. Okay. Is this person related to Harry?
No.
Okay. Hmm. Was this person part of the Order of the Phoenix?
No.
Okay. Is this character a human? I should have started with that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, okay. Is this character a professor?
No.
No, not a professor. Okay. Is this character, are they one of Harry's like peers at school?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Hmm. Is this character a woman?
No.
Okay, so it's a boy who we went to school with. Uh, oh, I know what I should have asked now, but I'm afraid I'm not going to remember people's houses. Was this person a Gryffindor?
Yes.
Okay, we covered that they're a Gryffindor and it's a boy. Why can't I think of his name? There's someone I am thinking of and now the name is escaping me. Oh wait, is this Neville?
No.
No. Oh my God. Does this person have things like blow up in his face all the time?
Yes.
Can't remember his name.
You've asked 9 questions. So you might be able to do this in 10 if you get it on the next one.
Okay. So should I go through every letter of the alphabet and say, does his name start with? Um, I know who it is that we're talking about now. I just cannot remember his name for the life of me. Okay, I'm trying to speed this up. Does his name start with A, B, C, or D?
No.
E, F, G, H,
No.
H, I, J, K.
I already said
What
no
am
to
I saying?
H. No.
L, M, N, O.
No, it's going to be later in the alphabet.
We're almost there. P, Q, R, S.
Yes.
I know someone's screaming, thinking that, like, knowing what this is, and I can't even recall.
Should I give you his initials?
Yeah.
His initials are SF.
Famous Finnegan.
Yes.
Oh,
Good job.
that was rough. I have a character. You go ahead.
Okay. Is this character a woman? A female?
No.
Okay. Is this character a student at Hogwarts in any of the years when Harry's at Hogwarts?
No.
Okay, so it's a man and it's an adult probably. Is this person a member of the Order of the Phoenix?
No.
Okay. Is this person at any point a professor at Hogwarts?
No.
Okay. So it's an adult male, not a professor, not part of the order. So is this person one of the members of Voldemort's Death Eaters?
No.
Okay. Is this person a shop or bar or something like that business owner?
No.
Okay. Is this person a human?
Yes.
Okay, so they're a human that's not at Hogwarts at the time of Harry. They're not a professor, they're not a business owner, they're not part of either side. Okay. Is this person someone that we encounter in the fourth book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
I don't believe so. So I'm going to say no.
Okay. All right. Does this person. Okay, so they're human. Does this person work at the Ministry of Magic?
No.
Okay. I'm trying to think here where this person comes into play in
You
Harry
got,
Potter.
I want to give you a hint so bad.
Okay, let me just confirming, is this someone who has any part in the original Harry Potter books?
Yes.
Okay. Um is this person someone who at any point lived in Godric's Hollow?
No.
Okay. All right. Let me think. So they're not like someone from Diagon Alley. They're not someone from Hogsmeade. They're not someone from Hogwarts that was a professor. Oh, do they? They're not a professor at Hogwarts. Do they work at Hogwarts?
No.
Is this someone who was a student of a school that's not a student or a teacher that of a school that's not Hogwarts?
Um, yeah.
The way you answered that doesn't make me feel any better.
They for sure were a student of a school that's not Hogwarts.
Okay, so let me think out loud for a minute. So it's got to be a man. It's not. It can't be Karkaroff because he's a Death Eater. So it could be. Okay, is it? I'm trying to think of how to ask these questions without just like, or should I just start guessing people? Um, is this? Is it like Victor Crumb?
No. And they were in the Goblet of Fire briefly. I just checked.
They
So
were
they
in the God
technically were in it.
briefly in the Goblet of Fire, but not a professor, not as someone who worked at the Ministry, not a student at Hogwarts during Harry's time. It's a man. And oh, is it like the Muggle man from the beginning of the book? The gardener
No.
guy?
No, but you're getting closer.
I'm getting closer. Okay, what about. Is this person a Muggle?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm getting on the right track now. I only got 4 questions left. Is this person in any way related to Voldemort?
No.
Oh, now I'm more confused. Okay.
You
All right.
got
Oh my god. Wait.
this. You're so
I think I'm
close.
figuring it out. Okay. Is this person a? Oh, I've got to be careful with my questions here. Is this person someone who lives in the Dursleys' neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is this person Vernon Dursley?
No.
Okay. That's my last question. No, last one, so I guess I just gotta guess it. Is this person Dudley Dursley?
Yes.
Oh, yay.
Yes. I
Oh,
think you
man.
got caught up on thinking that it was an adult just because he wasn't going to school. And then you were also stuck on it being like a wizard
Yeah, I
instead of a
was
muggle.
yeah, I was really in the wizarding world. I kind of forgot about the Dursleys for a minute there. Whew, but I got it in the end. Okay. Well, I think we should get into the episode. Okay, so let's go into the timeline of this scene. So we're just gonna jump to him getting into like Hogsmeade because I think there's like a lot more to kind of talk about beforehand, and that could be in a separate episode. So he before this scene happens, Fred and George give him the Marauder's map. He goes through the secret tunnel, and now he's going through the trap door in the cellar of Honeydukes, which is the sweet shop. And the key difference between the movie and the books is that Harry during this scene is wearing the invisibility cloak, whereas in the movies and then in the books, he's just like sneaking around, not wearing any sort of cloak. So he sneaks into the front room, and this is his first look at Honeydukes. Like this is his first time to Hogsmeade in general, and he's just like thrust into the thick of it, and all these students in Honeydukes, and Honeydukes sounds crazy. There's what he describes as shelves upon shelves of the most succulent looking sweets imaginable. And there is a long list of things that he lists off that and even from other scenes that we know are products at Honeydukes. So should we go through them?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so we start with creamy chunks of, how do you even say this? Nougat?
Nougat. What even is nougat? I don't even know.
I no clue, couldn't tell ya. Shimmering pink squares of coconut ice. I'm also very curious about what that is as well.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those moments where I'm not really sure where the line of what's British food and what's like Wizarding World food. Um, Nougat apparently is a confection made with sugar or honey that's cooked and then whipped with egg whites to aerate it. And it
Hmm,
often contains almonds or other nuts, candied fruits, and chocolate, although it can be plain. So it's like, and it could be a soft and tender, it can be soft and tender like marshmallow, but it's often dense and very chewy.
interesting. I think also that I might have had coconut ice before. In high school, we had like a bring a dessert from a culture or something, and I, for some reason, got like British culture, and that basically is just coconut with milk and sugar, and it's like a little square of one of those
Hmm.
things.
Oh, we're
And
learning
then
so much about British desserts.
I know, seriously. And then they describe that they also have fat, honey-colored toffees, hundreds of different kinds of chocolates in neat rows, a large barrel of every flavor of beans. I can't imagine like just scooping a barrel of every flavor beans.
I'm picturing it like those things where kids get like gemstones and they're just like all in there and you pick out the colors.
Yeah. And then a large barrel of fizzing Whizbies. Remind me what those are again.
Fizzing Whizbees. So this is Fizzing Whizbees are specific to Harry Potter. They are described as large sherbet balls that make the person that eats them briefly levitate.
Fat choco balls full of strawberry mousse. Clotted cream. Okay.
This stuff is gonna give you a blood clot.
Yeah. And sugar quills you can suck in class and look like you are just thinking. Is this how they describe it in the book?
Yes. Also, I have never like sucked on a pen.
Yeah, can't say I have either. Do you want to take the rest of the list?
Sure. There's this wall of special effects suites, and that wall includes Drubel's best blowing gum, which fills a room with bluebell colored bubbles that refuse to pop for days. Then there's this strange splintering tooth flossing string mints, tiny tiny black pepper imps, which make you breathe fire for your friends, ice mice, which hear your teeth chatter and squeak, peppermint creams, which are shaped like toads and they make you hop realistically. Oh, or they hop realistically in your stomach, which sounds terrible to me. Fragile sugar spun quills, exploding bonbons, and then and then the massive sherbet balls. The fizzing whizbees are part of like the special effects. But also going back, the tiny black pepper imps that make you breathe fire for your friends and all of these, this is reminding me of that movie scene. I guess it is from the third movie where all the boys are in their dormitory and they're like making animal sounds. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Exactly, yeah.
So I guess that's supposed to be a reference that like that they got those sweets from Honeydukes. I always thought that was a weird scene.
Yeah, now thinking back, I feel like it was kind of random. But
Yeah.
it does seem like it'd be fun, like getting candy with your friends and then all the little things that it does.
That, and then like Fred and George are off inventing things that do more stuff. And then also in the shop they have a section for unusual tastes, they say, which includes blood flavored lollipops and cockroach clusters.
Mm. What's the motivation behind blood-flavored lollipops? Like, I get that some people eat bugs. Somehow I can understand that. But just like wanting to have a blood lollipop, I can't say I relate.
Yeah, I would think that this applies to, we know that vampires exist in Harry Potter, so I guess like this would be for vampires, but also like it wouldn't satiate them because it's just blood flavored. There's not actually blood in them.
Oh, true.
But the blood flavored lollipops in that unusual taste section is actually where Harry ends up finding Ron and Hermione. So they're trying to find something to get for Harry when he sneaks up upon them and then says like, no things, don't get that stuff for me, essentially. I guess we can say here, or like we'll kind of, I'm trying to like make note of like how the movie and the book differ, but the movie scene is kind of a combination of multiple scenes that happen in the book. So that's where this might get like a little confusing for the book readers or the movie watchers and whatnot. But in the movie, there there's a scene that in the book happens later where Harry is under the invisibility cloak and then he finds them by the shrieking shack and he finds Malfoy and stuff. So in the movie he just goes into Hogsmeade and then he goes straight to the shrieking shack and finds Ron and Hermione there. And then that's where like this whole separate scene goes down in the movie, which doesn't happen in like the scene in the book, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does make it, I get how that makes it a little bit complicated, though.
Yeah. So when I'm trying to like with these episodes, we're always trying to cover the movie and the book, and this in the movie it has like an extra scene that's not part of the book. So, but what happens in the movie scene is that like Harry goes out to sees the Shrieking Shack, Ron and Hermione are there talking, and then Malfoy, Crabbe, and I guess it's Goyle. I don't know. It's definitely Malfoy and Crabbe, and then there's like this other guy with them that's not the same actor as the Goyle
Yeah.
guy.
When I was watching that, I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself. So it's either supposed to be Goyle or maybe it's just supposed to be another Slytherin. But the three of them are like, you know, making comments at Ron and Hermione, and then Harry comes up in the invisibility cloak and he starts like harassing them. So he throws snowballs at them and just messes with them until they get scared of ghosts or whatever is haunting them and then they run away. In the books, it's like it happens at a later time, so it's not snowing, and Harry throws mud at them actually, which seems like so much worse.
So much worse, yeah. Because it's cold mud too.
Yeah. So yeah, so just addressing that's different from the scene, but we can get back to the movie. So or back to the book. So in the book, instead of that whole thing with the shrieking shack and messing with Malfoy, that doesn't happen. He just meets them in Honeydukes. And this is where Harry explains to Ron and Hermione about the Marauders map, that Fred and George gave him this map, this magical map that allowed him to get into Hogsmeade without a signed permission form, which of course Hermione is not jazzed about.
Yeah, she's really wanting him to turn this in. Immediately, she basically says, like, you're gonna turn this in, right? And Harry's basically responds, being kind of like, what are you talking about? Or like, why would I do that? So, which, yeah, that would be crazy. Why would you turn that in?
Yeah, I think like this map, it does boggle my mind that Fred and George gave this to Harry. Like, this is one of the best gifts that Harry has ever been given.
I know, because why would you ever want to give that up too if you were them?
Yeah, their reasoning is that they say is that they know it by heart, like they know all the secret passages, they know how to get around the castle. But also they do make note of the fact that you're getting a live action update of where people are. And so that's never like you're always going to need the map for that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because they're getting up to like mischief all the time themselves. But
Mhm.
also, I guess they're like, Harry, you kind of have this evil guy who wants to kill you, so maybe this is useful.
Yeah. Well, I have like a little headcanon that Fred and George felt like that using the map was made it too easy, because if you're going to go pull pranks and steal stuff from the kitchens and do all these things, and you always know where Filch and the professors are, and you don't really have to sneak around that much because you can just move around where everyone is. I feel like Fred and George were probably like, this kind of takes away some of the fun and the adventure and the adrenaline of breaking rules.
Yeah, yeah. Part of the fun is like the risk of being caught.
Yeah. So I feel like Fred and George really enjoyed that risk of being caught. They wanted that back.
Yeah.
Hermione, though, to give her credit, I mean, Sirius Black is a mass murderer who's after Harry Potter. And Harry's whole thing is, well, Sirius isn't going to just like walk into Hogsmeade and or like get through some of these passages because they're either blocked off or people know about them or they're like in the middle of Honeydukes. But also, to Hermione's credit, their perception of Sirius Black to this point is that he is this mass murderer willing to kill random other people to achieve his means. So I feel like this isn't that good of a like rationale.
Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't make that much sense.
And they notice a sign there that says that Dementors are patrolling at night because Sirius Black is on the loose. So the Dementors are going like at night and searching these shops and businesses in Hogsmeade. And this is even more crazy because they're like, oh yeah, so Sirius wouldn't come here because of Dementors, but the plot of this book is that he got past the Dementors before to escape in the first place. So again, like Ron and Harry's rationale for Sirius being like a non-threat is not good rationale.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so fortunately for them, he doesn't turn out to be the risk they think, but like geez. So the three of them decide to pay and leave, and they walk outside. And this is where it's kind of like the same as the movie. They walk outside and it looks like a Christmas card in Hogsmeade. This is where we get very much in the Christmas spirit. I feel like we got our candy, and now there is all the Christmassy things. So there's little like it's snowing slash like blizzard outside. there's these thatched cottages and shops that are all covered in snow, and holly wreaths on all the doors, and then strings of enchanted candles hanging in the trees.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so it sounds lovely. Should we do a Hogsmeade business breakdown?
Heck yeah. I'll start. So there's actually I can't even remember how to pronounce this last one. Dervish and Bangiz.
I think it's Dervish and Banshees.
Dervish and Ban Dervish and Banshees. Wizarding equipment shop. And there's of course Honeydukes sweet shop and Madame Puddyfoot's tea shop. The
Hmm.
Three Broomsticks Inn, which is owned by Madame Rosmerta, which we'll get to. The Hogshead Inn as well. And then there's Glad Rags Wizard Wear, which is a clothing shop with lurid socks, including ones that scream when they get too smelly, which is so embarrassing. Don't work out in those. The post office, of course, which has about 200 owls, and they're all color coded depending on how fast you want your letter to arrive. And then there is Zonko's Joke Shop, the Shrieking Shack, which is known to be the most severely haunted building in Britain. And then there's kind of a bunch
there,
of others. Did you want to list those?
yeah, there's others that I'm not really sure if they're like actually canon for the story or if they come from this. Some of these come from like the Harry Potter wiki, so they might have been featured in the movies, or maybe they're like in video games and things. So like I don't know like what you consider canon, but there's a lot of them. So like I can do them rapid fire, but Caradwyn's Cauldrons, Dogweed and Death Cap, which is a herbology shop, Dominic Maestro's music shop, Fickle Fabrics, which is a hat making shop that operates within Glad Rags Wizard Wear, a hairdressing salon, Hayden Family Shop, J. Pippin's Potions, Potage's Cauldron Shop, Ranka Rabblehauser's shop, which sells house elf figurines, Scrivenshaft's quill shop, Spint Witch's sporting needs, Stitches and Droughts, which is like random items, the Haunted Hogsmeade shop, the Magic Neep, which is a greengrocer's, which I think is like a grocery store, right, for us.
I would think so. I wonder if green means it's like organic or something. I don't know.
It's like
That
a Whole
sounds
Foods.
fancy to me. Yeah.
The Old Fool, which is a furniture shop that went out of business when the owner shrank all of his merchandise. And then the Wizarding Wireless Network headquarters.
Gotta get that Wi-Fi.
I think it's like their radio, right? Their radio station.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was thinking this is like the Verizon of Hogsmeade.
But yeah, so a lot of businesses in Hogsmeade and people live there. Hogsmeade is founded by Hengist Woodcroft. It's an all wizarding village located in the Scottish Highlands, walking distance from Hogwarts, obviously. And this village, like the key thing is that it's all wizards. So you'll see like hags and vampires and goblins and other things, other creatures, I guess if you will, there, because it's not like Godric's Hollow where there's also muggles living there. So you kind of have to like be undercover. But anyway, so they leave Honeydukes and they're walking around and then they go into the Three Broomsticks to get out of the snow. And Ron is super eager to go get the drinks for the group because he's got to, get his flirty flirt on with Madame Rosmerta.
Is flirty flirt on?
Yeah.
What?
He thinks Madame Rosmerta is like so pretty.
I did not remember that. In the movies, she is like ice looking, I guess. I didn't pay that much attention. But I didn't realize he's like into Madame Rosmerta.
I don't think he's really into her in like a serious way, but more like, into her like a 13-year-old can be into
Uh,
like a grown adult woman
yeah,
who wears
certainly.
sparkly heels.
Yeah.
And this is where Harry gets his first butterbeer. So this monumental moment. And it says specifically that they drink hot butterbeer. And Harry thinks it's the most delicious thing he's ever tasted.
I can't imagine that being delicious personally. It being hot. Do they
Yeah.
serve hot butter beer at Universal?
Yeah, they do. I don't know if they do it all the time or maybe just during the colder months, but they do. It's like imagine like a hot chocolate type beverage. It's not hot chocolate, but like a butterbeer version of hot chocolate.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
I think the at Universal, I think I like the like frozen one or the liquid one better, though.
Yeah, same.
So I love this cute little moment for the three of them, and he's drinking butterbeer, and he's snuck into Hogsmeade successfully. But then this is where things take a turn because McGonagall, Flitwick, Hagrid, and Cornelius Fudge all enter the pub, and the key thing here is in the canon of the books, he asks both Cornelius Fudge and McGonagall to sign his permission form to go into Hogsmeade, telling both of them on separate occasions that he doesn't have a signed permission form because like the Dursleys didn't sign it. So basically he's very scared because these are like a bunch of teachers and the Minister of Magic, and he knows that like he's not they all know and he knows that he's not supposed to be there. And in the movies it's a little bit different because they're like outside and then Harry like follows these people into the pub, whereas like in the books they're already in there. So going with the book canon of the books, Harry just decides to like hide under the table. Like Hermione like pushes him under there and then casts a spell to move a tree in front of their table to kind of hide them from view from this group who goes to like, they go up to the bar, they order their drinks and then go sit right near their table. So in the movie, like I'll talk about movie differences in a second, then I'll get back to the canon of the book, but like I said before, so in the movie, the trio's like walking down the street. They overhear Fudge, Hagrid, and Rosmerta and McGonagall all like talking, and they begin this conversation. And then they move into the three broomsticks, and Harry, puts on his invisibility cloak and follows them into the pub. Hermione and Ron try to follow, but then they're told that the pub is closed to underage wizards that day, which is a crazy canon for this movie because this is a day when the students are all in Hogsmeade. Like, why would they close business to students?
Yeah, that makes almost no sense, actually.
But they have to contrive this so that Harry can get in and they can't. So he follows them upstairs. You get this brief view of the pub where there's like some people in there. It seems very like relaxed. And one thing I did notice in this quick view is there's a man there, like there's a man in the main like point of view when you're looking. He's sitting at a table. He seems to be reading like a newspaper or something. And he's reading and he's holding a candle and then he like conjures a second candle in the same hand.
Oh, really? I missed that. That's interesting.
It's so quick. I can show you a clip of this.
Okay, so we're walking up. Ron and Hermione are getting shut out. The tiny heads are telling them they can't be in the pub. The shrunken heads, I should say. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Yeah. So it is a really dim pub, so that makes sense. Like there's not really any lighting, and he's reading his some papers or a newspaper, I can't tell, and kind of like conjures another light. That's handy.
Yes. Watch. He's got one candle here in his hand and he's just holding a candle to read the paper like in it. Like he doesn't have a candle holder or anything. It's just like wax on his fingers. And then it's two candles. It's like a
I
magic trick.
love the details. I feel like it would be really interesting to go back and watch the movies and pay attention to like all the extras, all the side characters.
Yeah. One thing I also noticed in this scene, this it's a very, very brief shot. You're just getting like the downstairs, and then Harry's gonna go upstairs and follow the group. But there's an owl sitting here. Do you see this?
Oh, yeah, I
There's
can see that.
there's an owl just sitting in the pub, like I
Just
guess at a table.
his little buddies hanging out, some guy's owl.
And then it jumps right to Harry following them up the stairs.
Yeah.
But something I noticed about the movie scene, like you're talking about noticing different things, is there's so many animals throughout this Hogsmeade scene in the movie.
Really? I'm surprised I didn't really notice that actually.
The animals are hidden, so if you're rewatching this scene in the movie, you'll have to keep your eyes peeled. But in the very beginning, when they're in the um when they're in the street and they're walking, an owl flies overhead over the trio. You see right there?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, so then we go into the pub. There's an owl in the pub, just like sitting there. Oh, there's also a horse. It's a horse-drawn carriage that Fudge gets out of before they start this conversation. So we've got two animals so far.
See, we're seeing Madame Rosmerta too, looking very cute.
Yeah, I can't believe you said she was unattractive. She's got her curly hair going on. So far we're at two animals. An owl flew overhead, and there's a horse-drawn carriage. So got one owl, one horse. And then they go into this pub. Harry goes in, follows like the group. And that's where we see the guy with the candles that we were talking about. And then we see an owl sitting at one of the tables. I guess it just like delivered a letter and is just hanging out for some reason with these older gentlemen on kind of on the right. Then Harry goes upstairs, follows this group, gets himself in, and guess what? There's a dog. There's a dog,
Oh,
people.
I noticed the dog. He's very cute.
Yes, there's a dog sitting on this chair, which plays like a key part in this because I feel like the dog knows that Harry's there. Because at one point it looks right at him under the invisibility cloak. We're getting Harry's like point of view, and the dog just starts watching him. Watch right here. Because so see
Yeah,
the dog at the bottom. I swear, look, it looks over here and it's looking
he
at him.
is. I feel like that has to be a purposeful detail in the movie.
Yeah, right. Like because the dog kind of slowly looks over. It makes me think there was like a trainer there behind the camera, like holding a treat or something and
Yeah.
coaxing the dog to look.
Also, when Harry follows them upstairs, they have the door closed, so he's completely opening this door, and they are not suspicious at all. She just like goes to close the door, not
Yeah.
trying to check if anything got in that was invisible because something did.
Yeah, you would think that them knowing that like magic exists, they would be questioning that a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say the difference between the movie and the book is interesting because in the movie they kind of start talking to her and spilling the tea, you could say, and then they're like, "Oh, let's go talk privately in this room." Versus the book, they're just kind of like yapping in the middle of the pub about Harry's godfather's lore, you know?
Yeah, it is a little bit crazy that they're just like having this conversation loudly in the pub. And I know like they might think, okay, well, Harry Potter's not here, but like his peers might be, other people that might like share this information with him.
Yeah, he's everyone's gonna know, you know?
Yeah. But anyway, in the movie, if you thought that the dog was the last animal you're going to see in this scene, it's not. Do you want to take a guess at what's the next animal we're going to see in this scene?
Oh God. I'm gonna take a wild guess because it's sounding like it's something crazy. I'm gonna say a ferret.
Okay.
Because
All
why
right.
not?
So Lynn's guess is a ferret. Harry runs off. I guess we technically see some birds fly by when he knocks over the carolers, but I'm not going to count that. Then look what animal we see in the middle of the
Oh my
street.
gosh. What is that? A cow?
It's like it's like a cow. It looks like to be a bull, right?
Like is that one of those Highland cows? Because that would make a lot of sense
Oh
for the
yeah, I think you're
area.
right. Yeah.
Because they have really kind of like reddish long fur. Yeah, I think it is. That's an interesting detail to add in there, actually. Like, very fitting. So it
Right?
wasn't a ferret.
It's just this last quick shot of like an overhead of of Hogsmeade, and there's just someone standing there with a cow in the middle of the street.
Hey, they're in the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah, so they got their
Sometimes you
Highland
gotta
cow.
take your cow to Hogsmeade.
Yeah, and then they've got some birds flying around, which I'm not sure if they're just birds or owls kind of flying overhead. And that concludes my animal breakdown for this scene. So a lot of
Okay,
animals.
nice breakdown.
But where were we? Okay, so
We were getting to the beginning of them spilling the tea on Sirius.
okay,
The
yes.
honestly, the non-factual tea.
Yes, yeah. So this the adults sit down. Oh, before we get into the tea, there's the adults sit down and Rosmerta comes up and gives them their drinks. And I want to go through their drinks because I feel like their drink orders are very interesting.
I know, I feel like they really take time in the books to be like, this is what everyone got, and take what you will from that.
Yes. So Hagrid, we'll start with him. He got 4 pints of mulled mead. And if you're not
Four
familiar with what a
pints.
pints, a pint 4 pints would be about 1.6 gallons. So like picture like a half gallon of milk. Like it's a little bit more than that.
Wow, well, he's huge, so that makes a little more sense, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Um then Flitwick, so we're going from the biggest person to the smallest person. Professor Flitwick, he got cherry syrup and soda with ice and an umbrella, which I feel
Okay.
like that's basically like a Shirley Temple with an umbrella, right?
Yeah, he's living the dream.
He's got his grenadine and Sprite, and it's not even an alcoholic drink, and he's
He's
just
just a
like
girly girl out here.
he's like, give me an umbrella with it. All I could think when I read this drink order was like, imagine if you go on a date with a man and he orders a Shirley Temple. Like, if it were me, that date would be over immediately.
Really, I'd be like, hell yeah, brother.
What the kids say, I would get the ick, and that date like would be as over as soon as the drink hit the table.
Yeah, I hear you though.
Anyway, so Flitwick with his order, and McGonagall got a small gilly water, a sensible normal drink.
Remind me what a gilly water is again.
It comes from gilly weed, though it doesn't have the same effects. It's like diluted, but I don't really know like what exactly it is. It's some sort of like I think it's some sort of non-alcoholic like drink. Like maybe it's the equivalent of like a soda or like a juice.
Yeah, that would make sense if it was kind of like a seltzer water kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a LaCroix. And then Fudge gets a red currant rum. So Fudge and Hagrid are drinking. And maybe Rosmerta, she ends up joining them, and they don't specify what she's drinking, but that might explain why their conversation gets a little loud and gets a little interesting. Fudge explains that he's in town because Sirius Black is in town also. He had just attacked Hogwarts on Halloween, so Fudge has got to make an appearance. But Rosmerta is upset because the Dementors are bad for business. Obviously, no one wants to be around them, and they're floating all around Hogsmeade. And but Fudge's rebuttal is that the Dementors are upset because they can't go to Hogwarts. They can't go on the grounds, and he seems to think that the Dementors are like a necessary evil. And then this kind of like somehow gets on to Rosmerta saying like how she can't imagine that Sirius Black would have done those things, and reminiscing about him at Hogwarts, like when he used to come to Hogsmeade as a student. And so
Yeah.
this is where we go down the rabbit hole of the supposed history of Sirius Black.
Yeah, I like that little part about Rosmerta saying like, "Oh, I can't imagine Sirius doing these things," because that's kind of what's the word for it? Foreshadowing.
Yeah, they give us a lot of foreshadowing, especially in the books. Like even his attack on Halloween, when he goes slashes the portrait hole and tries to get into the like Gryffindor tower, people are like, "Oh, well, he must have forgotten that it's Halloween and we're down at the feast, and so Harry wouldn't be in the Gryffindor common room, so like he wouldn't have been able to kill Harry. He must have just like got the dates mixed up. Whoops, whatever."
Mm,
There's so many little hints of like, hey, this doesn't really like make a lot of sense. Like this isn't lining up, or this is just being written off, but there's something more to like Sirius that we're missing here.
yes. Also, I forget if I'm getting ahead of things, but they do mention it at a certain point that like when he's at Azkaban, like besides the pictures of him like rah, like screaming and shaking his head, he's very like those crack me the heck up. But he's very calm and like doesn't seem like a crazy person.
Hmm. Yeah, that was an interesting choice for the movie wanted posters.
Like, you are not helping your case, sir.
So anyway,
Say, yeah, let's get a quick headshot, and he's just screaming is crazy. Where was his lawyer? Clearly not present, because if I was his lawyer, I'd be like, we're taking that again, thanks.
you like cut that shit out right now. Oh man. Anyway, so let's get into the history lesson of what was it, Jack Black?
Jack Black.
Why
Yeah,
we're getting
Jack
delirious
Black's
here.
Carrie's famous godfather.
Harry's most famous godfather, Jack Black. Um Also, okay, I guess we should say before this, here's what we quote unquote know about Sirius Black that Stan Shunpike tells Harry. Harry knows that he's an escaped prisoner on the loose, that he murdered 13 people, including a wizard and muggles, like blew up the street, and that he's a madman. He's crazy. That's what we know so far. So now we're getting, and Harry knows that he is a Voldemort supporter and supposedly is coming to Hogwarts to kill him. So he doesn't really know like the story of how Sirius went to jail yet. So when we get into this history lesson now, so the adults are discussing this, and the first thing they tell us, which really grabs the attention, is that Sirius Black and James Potter were BFFs, troublemakers at school. You never see one without the other. They're brothers, like double act, like Fred and George Weasley.
Yeah, we learned like a lot about their history in this moment.
And then after Hogwarts, Sirius Black was the Potter's best man at their wedding and then became godfather to Harry. So they're for real, ride or die besties.
Besties.
And then this. Do you have more to add to that?
No, I was thinking, but not for long.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun.
So as all the Voldemort stuff was happening, one of Dumbledore's spies tipped him off that Voldemort was going to be after the Potters. So Dumbledore recommends to the Potters that they use something called a Fidelius charm. And so Rose she's like, what the heck is a Fidelius charm? So then Flitwick goes into his little teacher mode and he explains that this, which we need this explanation for us, the audience. It's the concealment of a secret inside a single living soul. So that being said, that this is like going back to this description made my mind start going in a million places because I was thinking to myself, this doesn't even have to be whereabouts. Like a Fidelius charm could be any secret. How so it's a concealment of a secret inside a living soul. So in this case, the secret was where are the Potters? And what like the answer to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where are they located? So that and then that secret people believe was hidden inside Sirius Black. That's what we're getting from this story. But we know, jumping ahead, like spoiler alert, we know that this secret gets concealed inside of Peter Pettigrew.
I'm forgetting. They chose for Pettigrew to know this secret?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
So they chose for Peter Pettigrew to be the one, and then the Fidelius charm is performed, and Peter Pettigrew is the one that keeps the secret. But to the world, everyone thought it was Sirius Black, even Dumbledore. But here's the thing that gets me is when we find out more information later, we learn that their neighbor like talks to them while they're in hiding, and then also that like Sirius sends owls like there's letters being exchanged between Sirius and Lily, and also Dumbledore at some point visits them. Peter Pettigrew visits them, but like he's the secret keeper, right? But like this is what gets me is I'm kind of like, okay, so the secret of their whereabouts is hidden within Peter. Then how the heck does anyone else know where they are? Like their neighbor, like Dumbledore.
They're breaking like all the rules of what I imagine the witness protection program has.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're hiding from this man who wants to kill us. Let's just go talk to our neighbors and get mail and have visitors.
Yes. It's, yeah, this witness protection, they didn't whip pro properly because like many people seem to kind of like know where they are, which is like this is where I'm so confused too. Like Hagrid finds them, Sirius finds them immediately after they die. I mean, I guess at that point it's like broken, but like I just
Yeah,
have a lot of questions about how this
mm,
spell works.
yeah, me too.
But those are those questions are unanswered. So I guess just like write in and tell us your theories.
Yeah, please do. I feel like there's someone who's probably more of an expert on those kind of things, actually.
Yeah, I just like I feel like this is a little bit confusing. Um but anyway, for the purposes of this history lesson, we're told that Sirius is the secret keeper, and then Sirius decides to tell Voldemort about where the Potters are, and then when Voldemort goes after the Potters and tries to kill them, and then Voldemort or kills the Potters, isn't able to kill Harry, and then Voldemort dies, or for the sake of he goes away. This history lesson is telling us that Sirius made a run for it. So Sirius is like he's just revealed himself as this double crosser, and now he's on the run. And this is where Hagrid jumps in, saying that he must have been the last person that saw Sirius because he went to Godric's Hollow to their broken down house and pulled baby Harry out of the ruins, and then Sirius shows up. And Sirius is all upset and offers to take Harry. And Hagrid is like, no, I have my rules. And he is assuming that he's upset about the Potters, but then later he's assuming that he's really upset because of Voldemort fell.
Yeah, afterwards he's kind of speaking about it and feeling like suspicious of Sirius at that time for sure.
Yeah. And Sirius offers to take Harry, and Hagrid's thinking like, "Oh, Sirius, like if I had let Sirius have Harry, he would have just like killed him right then and there probably."
I wonder what Sirius would have actually done like in the alternate timeline of if he had taken Harry.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
where would he have gone, you know?
I think if Hagrid had just given Harry to Sirius, I think that would have actually solved all of this because I think Sirius like this is where it gets confusing because we're being told one story but we know the truth, right? So,
Yeah.
in let's just talk about the truth for a second. We know that Sirius, after he finds out that Harry's okay and with Hagrid and like Harry's gonna be safe. Like this is first Sirius feels Sirius, the reason that he went to go to the Potters is he felt like something was off. He went to go check on Peter, and Peter was gone from his hiding place, and there was no sign of a struggle or anything. And he was like, "This is weird. Something's off." So he goes to the Potters, and then sees the house, and it's totally destroyed. And he sees Hagrid there with Harry, and he offers to take Harry. So I'm thinking in my mind, he's like, he's thinking like I'm his godfather. I'm going to take Harry and like take care of him. So I guess he would like take him back to the Order of the Phoenix or back to Grimmauld Place and like basically raise him as his own.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like he wouldn't have had to live with the Dursleys.
Yeah. And I was thinking like since so we know that that doesn't happen and that Hagrid takes him, but Sirius knows, okay, like Harry's with Hagrid. He's going to go to like Dumbledore. Harry's safe. Now, since I'm not dealing with that, I got to go kill Peter. Like, then this whole other chain of events happens and he ends up going to Azkaban. It kind of seems like if he had just taken Harry, he would have been like caught up with having a baby and wouldn't have gone to like hunt down Peter.
And
Or
remind me how does he know that it was Pettigrew?
because going with the truth here. So Sirius knew that he was very publicly James Potter's best friend. And so he knew, and they know that there's a spy somewhere in their inner circle. There's some spy from the Order of the Phoenix that's been giving Voldemort information for like a year. So Sirius thinks, okay, we know there's like a spy. We need a cover. So I'm going to pretend like I'm the secret keeper and I'm going to like go on the run or whatever, like, and keep Voldemort and the Death Eaters chasing me. And then we'll actually make Peter the secret keeper. So I'll like, everyone will be thinking that it's me. The spy will tell Voldemort that it's me, but like he convinces the Potters to make secret Peter the secret keeper as like a bluff, like as like a surprise, like no one would expect random Peter to be the secret keeper.
Yeah, wow. So he must feel like really guilty for that.
Yes, because in Sirius's mind, he's thinking that Remus Lupin is the spy. So he's like, okay, we got to trick him, right? And then Remus Lupin is thinking that Sirius was the spy all along after this goes down. Meanwhile, Peter is the one like all along. Um, but this is why like Sirius feels so much guilt, and even when Harry finally sees him like later in book 3, like Harry says, "You killed my parents," and Sirius like admits it because and then like later he says, "You admitted to killing my parents," and Sirius is like, "I as good as killed them," because he's the one that could convince them to use Peter.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That cuts deep.
That's real deep. But anyway, where were we? So we got to get back on the track of what this adult group in the Three Broomsticks thinks is the story. So they think that Sirius was the secret keeper who told Voldemort, and then we were talking about like Hagrid runs into him. This is also the key thing is Hagrid. More red flags should have been going off in the moment because Sirius gives Hagrid his motorcycle and says, "You have it. I won't need it anymore." Like if someone said that to you about their favorite flying motorcycle, wouldn't you be like, something's something's not right
Yeah,
here?
something's up.
So in their minds, again with their history lesson, this story, they think that Peter Pettigrew went after Black when he was on the run, and Peter, being young and not talented and bad at dueling, just like found Sirius and then didn't really have a plan, and then Sirius kills him, right?
That's, yeah, interesting because we also did the episode on Quirrell, and I'm kind of seeing like similarities between Quirrell and Pettigrew being kind of like the underdog and kind of not, maybe not as, I'm forgetting if I felt like Quirrell had talent, but I felt like he was more so just like a nervous, not confident person. And I feel like Pettigrew is kind of similar. And so it's very interesting to me, like the drawing that comparison and them both like working for Voldemort basically, or like going to that side.
Yeah. Yeah, you get lots of different people that are Voldemort followers for different reasons. And some of them, it's really just like cowardice or feeling inept maybe, and then like being attracted to someone who is powerful that can like protect you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Fudge, actually, Cornelius Fudge happened to be someone who worked at the ministry. I mean, like, because he's the minister of magic now. So he's like, has worked his way up. So at the time that this happened, which was 13 years ago, he worked for the like unit of magical catastrophe cleanup, basically. So he was one of the first people on the scene. And so he's able to describe it. He says the sewer was cracked, there were bodies everywhere, muggles screaming, and all that was left of Peter Pettigrew was just a finger. And also, a key part of this story is that Peter Pettigrew, when he sees Sirius, he yells, "James and Lily, how could you?" before this explosion happens. So he was really laying on the acting thick for the group.
Oh my God, he's really setting the scene. I'm
Yes.
imagining also some really bad acting and everyone just somehow believing him, like being like, like how could you? And then it being like really dramatic.
Yeah. And Fudge also gives another, like, slips in another key piece of information is that the Muggles were interviewed and then their memories were wiped afterwards. All the eyewitnesses. So we have this nice, clean scene where all the eyewitnesses now can't remember this. The only people who in Pettigrew is quote unquote dead. So the only person that would be able to remember what happened in this moment is Sirius Black.
Wow, perfect.
Perfect. The man who actually doesn't get a trial, so he just gets sent right to Azkaban, never questioned, and they never get his perspective on what happened. So that's
Love
super
that.
convenient. And Peter Pettigrew is lauded as a hero. He gets a Order of Merlin first class after his quote unquote death, and his mom like takes it for him, and Sirius goes to jail. And so that's the end of like that history lesson from the adults. And then Fudge even explains, this is what you're talking about earlier. Fudge explains that he visited Azkaban recently, and when Sirius was still in prison, he seemed very rational and just bored. And he was one of the most heavily guarded in the prison. But he just casually asked Fudge for his paper, his newspaper, saying that he wanted to do the crossword. So this is another little nugget of information that's going to come back, is that Sirius Black gets a newspaper from Fudge when Fudge visits, which then Sirius, this is like a random throwaway line from Fudge. Like, you don't think it's anything, but as a rereader, you know that paper had a picture of the Weasley family in Egypt with Peter Pettigrew the rat, and this is what that paper is what prompted Sirius to escape in the first place, knowing that Peter Pettigrew was at Hogwarts with Harry and could hurt Harry.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Yeah. But anyway, so Fudge also drops another key piece of information that helps you understand Fudge's like the way he thinks, because Fudge can seem kind of like crazy, but he says that he thinks that Voldemort will rise again if he gets Sirius Black back, his quote unquote most loyal servant. So Fudge's whole like mode of operation, and this is where like this kind of explains his actions later. Like when he finds out that Sirius escapes, there's Dementors everywhere. He's like on it, like we got to stop Sirius from getting to Voldemort, right? But when he thinks that when there's like question of if Voldemort comes back on his own later, he doesn't believe it. So Fudge is like, he's a great example of someone who fundamentally does not understand Voldemort. Like Voldemort is a solo act. Like he just uses his followers for what he needs. He doesn't rely on them. It's not like he gets his power from his followers. Like I think
Yeah.
Fudge just doesn't get he just doesn't get it.
Yeah, he does not get it.
I don't know how else to say it.
That just about sums it up. The girls who get it get it.
Yeah, Dumbledore and Harry are the girls that get it. Hermione gets it. Fudge does not. And to his downfall. But anyway, so after this like crazy like period of all this information that Harry is getting blasted with, the group just gets up and leaves. They're like, all right, we've discussed this. We've had our Shirley Temples. Like, let's go back.
Let's just conveniently spill the tea right here and dip.
Yes. Um so, and then that's pretty much the end of the chapter. And Harry goes back through the secret passage, and then we're left in the next chapter to deal with Harry's reactions to all of this. The movie is a little bit different because instead of just going straight back, Harry, storms out of this pub and then updates Ron and Hermione about what he learned. And they're in this little like wooded forest area, like outside of Hogsmeade. And this is like what we were talking about earlier, where Harry knocks over the carolers, and then they're in this little wooded area. And this is when Harry like tells them and screams into the air, and it's super dramatic.
Oh my God. I don't know if it was just me, but I was like, I love Daniel Radcliffe. Big fan if you're listening, Daniel. But this scene was, I was like, the acting was a little bit too much for me. It's like, he was there, or like, oh yeah, he was like, he was their friend. And he's like crying and screaming, which, I guess I get it because, your parents died and everything, but
Yeah.
it was a bit much.
That's my favorite quote from this scene in the movie. He was that friend. It's so memorable. But I do have to say, this might be a controversial opinion, so listeners come for me in the comments, but I think this moment here with him in this little like hoodie is possibly Daniel Radcliffe's best look out of all the movies, all the scenes.
Oh my God, I hate to say it, but he does look really cute. I know that
Yes.
I know that in the books though he's supposed to be like 13 or 14. I don't know what age he actually was, so I can retract that statement if I need to.
For the record, he's older than both of us, so it's not weird
Yeah, it's
because,
not weird
yeah.
at all.
It's not weird, but I do think I'm looking back at the movie scene. He has this hoodie and he has like a little like jacket over it, and they've kind of ruffled his hair. And I do think that it literally in this scene in this movie reached his peak like cutie patootiness.
I agree. He looks a little bit, it's giving bad boy a little bit.
He was a
Minus that part.
friend. um yeah, I'm like looking back. It's so funny.
Okay, we're getting a close up of the look with the hoodie pulled up. A couple pieces of hair dangling in front of the face.
Yeah. He's got his little jacket, he's holding his invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
It's a good look for him with the hood up.
I need to know now how old he was when I'm just like really curious because he's clearly not 13, 14. At least I don't think.
Yeah, so Daniel Radcliffe was born in 1989, and Prisoner of Azkaban was filmed in 2003. So he would be 13 and turn 14 during filming.
Oh. Okay, then I might retract that. Okay.
Okay, well we've determined that he is as old as the person that I'm married to right now. So, and that's older than me. So, I feel like it's not that weird.
We'll give ourselves a pass.
Okay. But yeah, but that's the end of the scene. So we find out some crazy information about Sirius, which, more will unfold later in the book. But let's get into some discussion questions. So who was your hero of the scene?
Oh gosh. Um, you go first, because let me think about this.
I think my hero of the scene, who they aren't even really in the scene, but Fred and George, they give Harry this wonderful, amazing gift, this map that allows him to go to Hogsmeade and have this wonderful experience.
That's a good one. I think I was gonna say Madame Rosmerta for being maybe a little bit nosy.
Yeah, she gets this conversation going because she's the one that supposedly like doesn't know the story that it's being told to, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What was your favorite quote from the scene?
Obvi that he was their friend.
The full quote is, "He was their friend and he betrayed them. He was their friend." I do think an interesting line that comes from the book comes from Hagrid. He says, and I'm terrible at reading these things that are like written in Hagrid's accent, but it's
Yeah.
but when a wizard goes over to the dark side, there's I'm just gonna read it normal, okay?
You know you have to try reading it in his accent. It's too funny.
But when a wizard goes over to the dark side, there's nothing and no one that matters to him more anymore. It's like really hard. When a wizard goes over to the dark side, there's nothing and no one that matters to them anymore. That's essentially what he's saying. I think this is such an
Okay.
interesting line because it's just not true. It comes up again and again and again. Like Death Eaters, it's not like they just don't care and that they don't love anyone. Like Narcissa Malfoy is a great example. Draco Malfoy, like even Bellatrix cares about her family. Like I just think it's an interesting line. Like again, like the perception is a little bit different than the reality.
Yeah, that is interesting, like taking the complexity out of them.
Yeah. Should we get into theories?
Let's do it.
Okay, so I found some theories relate. Mostly, this is going to be related to like Sirius Black's story, history lesson that we got. So one thing is, a theory is that Peter Pettigrew put Sirius Black under the Imperious curse to make him convince the Potters to then make Pettigrew the secret keeper.
That would be interesting if I thought that Peter Pettigrew was good at magic.
Yeah, I don't think he's good enough to be doing that. Yeah, I think that like what makes more sense is that Sirius came up with this plan to try to like trick the spy.
Yeah, I think I would believe that he'd do it in earnest because I think he genuinely would believe that Pettigrew's not a bad person.
Yeah. Next theory is that Dumbledore intentionally did not investigate Sirius Black further. Like he could have used legilimens, he could have like, interrogated him because he wanted Sirius to go to Azkaban and be out of the way in order to execute his plan of sending Harry to live with the Dursleys.
Okay, this one's interesting. I gotta think on this a little bit.
I do think this brings up some questions because we know from the later books that Dumbledore does go out of his way to go find people that are in prison or that are like in other places, and he does interrogate and like find information, like because he's trying to figure out information about the Horcruxes. So he goes
Yeah,
and talks to the Gaunts. He goes and talks to the house elf that was involved with like the Helga's cup. So like I feel like it wouldn't be that much out of the way. He already testified against Sirius saying that he was the secret keeper. It seems like why didn't he just like use legilimens on Sirius or ask Sirius any basic questions? Like he already seems to have pull with the ministry. And after all of this is done, he listens to Sirius and accepts his story so quickly. So it's a little
yeah,
bit
maybe
suspicious.
maybe Dumbledore is just a little weird, which I feel like we kind of have gathered.
Yeah. So interesting theory. I mean, again, I don't think. Do I really think that like Dumbledore was like, let's just send this guy to prison so I can send Harry to the Dursleys? No.
Yeah.
But that's out there. So think about that one. Next theory, and this is the last one we'll go through, is Peter Pettigrew performed a cheering charm. This is going to explain the mugshot, okay? This is.
Oh
The mugshot was
gosh.
so crazy that if you want to come up with a theory for this one, Peter Pettigrew performed a cheering charm to make Sirius laugh when he was captured.
I mean, I get why they have this theory because, like, what reason truly makes sense? I actually looked this up because I was like, why is this fan screaming and laughing? And the theories, at least Google AI generally says that it's because, like, out of like exasperation and like just, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you just things sometimes go so bad that you just have to like laugh, but this wasn't like a normal chuckle. This was like a scream crazy person
Well,
laugh. So I don't know.
okay. Let's separate the movie Mugshot. He's screaming laugh. It's very odd. And this would have been like way after he like got taken to the ministry. The way it's described
Okay,
in the
yeah.
book is when once Pettigrew dies, I think from like the eyewitnesses, he started laughing. And I am like the way I imagine it in my head is like the exasperated, like, because that's how it's described in the book, where it's like, okay, so you find out that this like nobody kid that you convinced to be the secret keeper is actually a spy, and then you go to corner him, you've got him cornered, and then he yells out like, oh, you couldn't, how could you do this, and then cuts off a finger and turns himself into a rat, which is the perfect disguise. How are you going to find him out of like the millions of rats? And you're just like, oh, like, come on. Like, this is just so like infuriating.
Yeah, that makes sense. The movie has no excuse. No fan theory could cover that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that like Pettigrew is that smart where he performed the cheering charm. Again, like I have just such like low thoughts about Peter Pettigrew that I don't think he was like that ahead of it to perform a cheering charm. But we do know that cheering charms exist. So it's
Yeah.
like not that crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing I can think of is a personal experience. One time I was getting onto an elevator. It was a packed elevator full of people. I'm just walking on I'm just walking on it like a normal person. And this elevator was a very janky elevator. And the doors slammed into me. Like you know how doors will sense doors will sense that there's a person there and move back. These doors just
Yeah.
like full on like almost knocked me off my feet. And this is let me remind you, this is in front of a full elevator of people that
Oh
just
my
watched this happen to me.
gosh.
And then I had to proceed to get onto this elevator and stand there while everyone stared in silence. And I
No.
was having a really hard time. I was like giggling to myself. No one else laughed about it. And I'm just on this silent
What?
elevator
No
giggling to
one?
myself.
Wow. I would do that too. No one even asked if you were okay or anything. That's crazy.
No one was concerned for me. Also, no one found it as funny as I did. So I feel like this was my serious black moment where I was just like laughing
Yeah.
in this weird situation.
Yeah, exactly. This theory also makes me imagine like this about the cheering charm. Imagine being at a bar and seeing Peter Pettigrew, and he's one of those guys who's like, Smile, why aren't you smiling?" Attempts to do the cheering, the cheering charm.
Yes. I think a lot of like women, maybe all women have experienced this where a man tells you that you should be smiling.
Someone told me that, and I was like, I'm literally just like walk at a bar actually. I was like, I'm literally just like walking and trying not to get lost, like not to lose my friend. So weird.
Yes.
But I could imagine Pettigrew doing that. So
You think so to sum up, you think that Peter Pettigrew is the type of guy that tells women that they should smile more?
yeah, but in a way where he's like hunched over and he's like, that's like a little bit like smile kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh man. I that's it's like extra creepy as if it wasn't creepy enough when men do that. If you are a woman woman and Peter Pettigrew comes up to you and tells you to smile, it tells you to smile, do not smile.
Yeah, in fact, frown harder.
Okay. Well, I think that covers it for our theories. If you have other theories, write in.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening. Next week, we'll be discussing Charlie Weasley. Until then, happy reading, happy listening, and may you never eat a blood-flavored lollipop.